Nobody is underselling it, but when you look at what the Eagles did defensively last year, opponents scoring 78% of the time on red zone trips. They gave up a franchise record 31 touchdown passes. You can understand why they have made such a splash on the defensive side of the ball. But, Jason, a lot of people have the question when they look at what the Eagles have done and they look how quiet other teams have been, how were they able to pull all of this off?
I've got the answers here for you, Kara, but bear with me. This is going to be breaking new ground here in the Man Cave. 3 whiteboards, so we got you covered. How did they do it? Well, let's look at the cap numbers for these guys. Nnamdi Asomugha, about $16 million in 2010. I know it was uncapped then, but that's what he would have made. He's only going to count $10 million against the cap. Jason Babin, $5.3 million against the cap. Again, for a pass rusher, that's not going to kill you. We've got Cullen Jenkins. He's counting less against the cap, $4 million, than he did in 2010 for Green Bay, $4.65. Vince Young, $14.2 million a year ago. They got him for a steal at $4 million. Rogers Cromartie, $2.1 million. So none of those guys are breaking the bank. And there's an escape plan for all of these deals, except for the Nnamdi Asomugha deal. The Eagles can get out after 1 year and not have any extensive cap charges going against them in 2012 or to the future. Change, please. Board 2. So let's look at Michael Vick. Right now, he's counting $16 million against the cap on a franchise tag. But that could be lowered drastically if they get him signed to a long-term extension. The Eagles don't know where that's going, but it's certainly an option. And let's not forget about Asante Samuel. His cap numbers, 9.3 this year, 9.5 2012, 2013, 11.5. He's now a corner who could be expendable. Well, if they trade him, they could save $8.3 million under the cap. He'd only count $1 million in dead cap in 2011, $2 million left on his proration in 2012. That's, again, $8.3 million cap savings. That's why the Eagles could still be shopping for more. Change, please. Thank you. Third whiteboard, the future for the Eagles. It's pretty bright. 2012 draft. They already have 11 picks, 2 2s, 2 4s, 2 5s. Most of their key players signed for another 2 to 3 years. So the cap looks good for a few years moving forward, which brings us to Deshaun Jackson, the last question. We'll see how long that holdout lasts. The new rules that are out there right now make it pretty difficult for players to do much. They may get 1 more year of Deshaun Jackson at a cap savings. And again, the way they're set up long term, moving into the future, 2012, even with a big deal, that wouldn't break the bank. So maybe they still bring in another wide receiver or so. Remains to be seen.
Jason, I love it. It's like a beautiful mind in there. One of the big surprises that Andy Reid made before they even went all through this, Solomon and Brian, was the fact that Juan Castillo, who was the offensive line coach, was brought over to be their defensive coordinator. Now he has all these pieces that he has in play. How is he going to use them?
I like the fact that Juan Castillo comes over. He was once their offensive line coach, Baldy. You know this. He's now the defensive coordinator. He's going to use Cullen Jenkins and Jason Babin to get after the quarterback. He now has coverage on the back end with DRC and Antonio Cromartie. They may let Asante Samuel go, but Juan Castillo, what he brings to the table is he used to design offensive protections against blitzing defenses. He now can use that knowledge to create a much better defense, a much better pass rush to put pressure on quarterbacks, breaking down those protection schemes, and he knows how to put the coverage behind it. And what's more, Baldy, he's got the talent to do it now on the defensive side of the ball in Philly.
Well, Sally, if you look at Andy Reid under his 13 years here in Philadelphia, he's always promoted his assistant coaches. The only guy he's never really given an opportunity to, and that included Harbaugh and Childress and Spagnuolo and, all the guys that have left. I mean, Juan was the only guy that was the loyal from the very beginning here, and he thought he owed him that opportunity. So in talking to Juan today, look, he's already lost his voice, Sally. I mean, this is a high-energy guy, and the blueprint for how they're going to play is now finally turned a page from the Jim Johnson era. It's not going to be a lot of disguise and overloads and pressures. It's going to be win with your front 4, lock down on the outside, take away the first or the second option, and allow that rush to get home. All day today, all they emphasized was getting to the football. Speed, hustle, effort. It's going to be a new look, but their front 4 now, with the additions of Jenkins and Babin to go with Trent Cole and an assortment of other players inside, that has got to win up front, week in, week out, for this defense to make strides.